And we are live. Hello, everybody, today with another Disney tier list. So over the past 4 weeks or so, we have been diving into these tier lists weekly with Disney movies, and we actually wrapped all those up in chronological order last week. So the question of this week is what we were going to do next. And what I came up with was we're going to do a little trip planning tier list. And here's how that is going to work while everyone's starting to trickle in here into the chat. We're going to start with Epcot. And what we're going to do is we are going to rank the attractions at Epcot for somebody who has never been before. So think of yourself giving advice to one of your friends or family for their first Disney trip of their life, what you would rate these attractions as. Whether it's a must-do attraction, whether it's something that you would recommend they fast pass, whether it's good for kids. And I'll bring up the list right now so you can see it. Here it is. Here's our list. So, if I could get my, trying to get my thumbnail up right now. There it goes. So, people starting to trickle in now, so I'll explain this for everybody more in-depthly in just a moment. Hi, everybody coming in chat right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So yeah, I kind of took the tier list model and I turned it into a little bit of an interactive, a fun and interactive trip planning game. So, with this fun interactive trip planning game, we have all of our, well, not all of them, but we have the attractions of Epcot to include rides and shows here at the bottom. I'm going to pull them up on the screen one by one, and chat is going to tell me what it ranks as. So you'll notice that the rankings aren't the same as we did in the movies. We have must-do. So this is the must-do attraction. Literally, these attractions, if you miss it, if you never have gone on it, your vacation is incomplete. We have a great attraction. So these great attractions are, amazing as well, but your vacation isn't necessarily ruined if you missed it. We have fast pass it. So these are attractions you should try to get fast passes for, but if you can't, maybe don't wait in a huge line for them. We have for kids. So this is an attraction that you're going to want to hit up if you have kids, but if not, maybe pass it by. We have one and done. This was a suggestion. I did a little 5-minute preview of what I was going to do today on our Patreon. If you're interested in becoming a member of our Patreon, all that information is in the description below. But I did a little 5-minute preview last night for Patreon, and this was a suggestion from Philip on Patreon to add a one and done category. So ride it once and that's all you really need. You don't need to, it's not one of those repeatable, you want to do it multiple times kind of rides. And I thought that was a great category, so we added that. And then finally, our final category is skip it. You don't need to do this one. Don't even waste your time. I'd be surprised if many attractions fell in this category. However, I do have one in mind, personally, that I think could fall under the skip category. And that's it. We're going to do this in the frame of we are giving advice to a member of our family or a friend who has not visited Epcot before, and we're telling them what's the must-dos. What are the must-dos at Epcot? To help them plan their vacation. And if you need help planning your vacation, Dreams Unlimited Travel. That is who these videos are brought to you by. Make sure you check the description below. If you're planning a Disney trip coming up pretty soon, it supports this channel a bunch. It's what keeps these great videos coming out to you. And if you wouldn't mind smashing that thumbs up button, really appreciate that a lot. Helps our videos out a ton. And let's go ahead and bring up our first attraction. And that is, of course, Spaceship Earth. You can't get closer to the entrance of the park than Spaceship Earth unless you're going through the World Showcase entrance. But this is the first attraction we're going to rank. So I'm going to type in chat, Spaceship Earth. So chat, now it's your job to tell me where this attraction falls. Is this a must-do attraction? Is it great, but not quite must-do? Fast pass it, just for kids, one and done, or skip? I know we got a awesome comment. We got a top tier comment coming in. Le Cellier brunch, skip it, right, Fiasco? That's right. Skip Le Cellier brunch. Skip it. Not very good. So, but I did notice watching, because we did Le Cellier brunch on its first day ever, and then I went back and, like, as you know, other vloggers and stuff got to do it, and they started to review it and stuff. They completely changed the menu. So from the day that we went to it on the opening day, where there was literally no like cooked steak on the menu, they changed it, and they had some better options, it looks like. But here we go. Let's see what the ranking is. So as these rankings are in, my vote for Spaceship Earth would be an absolute must-do. I feel like if somebody is visiting Epcot for the first time especially, Spaceship Earth is one of those things that if you told me you left your first Disney vacation ever, you went to Epcot and you said you didn't go on Spaceship Earth, I would call it blasphemy. It's definitely, for me, an absolute must-do, if not the #1 must-do, that you really can't miss on your first trip to Epcot. But looking at these rankings here, we have mostly must-dos. So it looks like most of the chat agrees with me, with some fast passes as well. Fast pass it. I would also say for Spaceship Earth, I would say fast pass it, considering what you can get fast passes for at Epcot. There's not a ton of, because you have the main top tier bracket for fast passes, including Frozen, Test Track, Soarin'. You can just get one of those, and then all the rest of them, I feel like Spaceship Earth is probably the best thing to get a fast pass for, besides those top tier attractions. But I feel like also at the same token, Spaceship Earth is one of those things where even if you can't get a fast pass for it, it still is a must-do. And as I catch up with chat here, it looks like they definitely agree. So, with that being said, we are starting off our tier list. Spaceship Earth is a must-do Disney attraction. Could not agree more, chat. Could not agree more. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up attraction number 2. I know I used a picture here for the Land Pavilion, but this is going to resemble Living with the Land. So, we got Tom Bell and Mary Jo in the chat. Hello, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Attraction number 2, Living with the Land. Now, as the votes come in, we have a question here. Fiasco, do you think they will go ahead with the refurbishment? That's a really good question. I don't know. Personally, I think that Epcot, this is my personal opinion. I know not everybody on the team agrees with me, but I personally think that Epcot will probably receive some cuts. And I think one of the things that would make the most sense to not close for refurbishment is Spaceship Earth. I think there's a lot of things in Epcot's plans for the future they have to go forward with, but I think the Spaceship Earth refurbishment is one of those things that could definitely be put on hold, and you wouldn't hear a lot of complaints. So, good question. My opinion on Living with the Land, as the votes are very much flowing in here, this was on my top 5 list for all Disney World attractions back 8 or so months ago when we did those videos, and that hasn't changed. It hasn't changed at all. Living with the Land is still one of my top 5 favorite attractions, and it's only gotten more so as they say, distance makes the heart grow fonder, and as I've been distanced from Epcot for a month and a half now, Living with the Land has become one of the most prominent attractions that I've missed. Being a local, this is often just a walk-on attraction. You can just mosey on any given day of the week, really. Sometimes there's a line, but usually not. And I ride this attraction a lot. It's very relaxing, and I miss it. I would say it's among the rides I miss the most right now. And here are the votes. Here are the votes. So we have must-dos. Quite a few must-dos. We also have quite a few one-and-dones. But way more must-dos, with quite a number of greats coming in. A large number of greats. Right now, the number one said answer for Living with the Land is great. Tom Bell says, where is this Epcot place? If you go to Disney California Adventure, there's an attraction called Soarin'. If you walk through the secret doorway, you end up in Epcot. All these people in chat have been there. So right now, still, the number one set answer is great, and that is not changing. So Living with the Land is going into the great category. And I think we're starting off with a nice spread. So, not going too far at all. We are going to take a look at Soarin' around the world. And for those of you that have just come in the chat and didn't hear my initial explanation, we are putting the attractions at Epcot into categories based on what we would tell somebody who hasn't been to the park before. So think of a friend or family member coming to you and saying, hey, I'm going to Epcot for the first time. What should I do? Well, this is our tier list for that. So, Soarin' around the world, not to be confused with Soarin' over California, where this attraction falls. So as the votes are trickling in, a bunch are in now. My opinion on Soarin' is it is a fast pass attraction. Soarin' around California was one of my absolute favorites, but I don't like hyping up Soarin' around the world. I feel like if I was to hype this attraction up to somebody who had never done it before, I would just be doing it in injustice, because there is room for disappointment here with the seating situation. Not all seats are equal in this ride, obviously. There's some serious tilting of the screens and such. But definitely, I would, like, for all ages, I would say your party should use their main fast pass on this, unless you got some diehard Frozen fans in your group. Then that should be the fast pass you grab. But if not, definitely fast pass it. But I mean, would I necessarily say you have to do it? Wait an hour and a half, wait 2 hours, it doesn't matter. I don't know if I'd say that. And the votes are definitely in. It looks like most of chat at this point is saying must do, but I'm still catching up. Some fast pass it. Still mostly must do's. Right now it's a heavy toss-up between must do and fast pass it, but must do is very much in the lead. Very, very much so. And as I catch up, it's not as much in the lead, but it's still definitely in the lead. I'm almost caught up. And it looks like so to clear up some confusion, the category Fast Pass It is saying you should try to get a Fast Pass for it. But if you don't, it might not be worth waiting an hour to 2 hours in line for it. Whereas a must do is whether you get a fast pass for it or not, it's still a must-do. No matter what, it's a must-do. But obviously, you should fast pass the must-dos if you can get them as well. Fast pass it is kind of like, think of it as like fast pass or bust. But with me caught up with chat, the definite answer for Soarin is must-do. Fast pass it was a close second, but Soarin is definitely taking the must-do category right next to Spaceship Earth. And again, we're not going too far. We're going to Awesome Planet now. I know a lot of people probably haven't had the chance to experience the show, and that's okay. If you haven't, you don't have to vote for this one. But for those of you that have seen Awesome Planet, I would love your votes. Mary Jo says, and what is great? So, I'll go through the rankings one more time, just for everybody who came in chat late. Must do is like, you need to do this attraction or your vacation, like, it's not complete. Your vacation, your Epcot day at Walt Disney World is not complete if you did not ride these must-dos. Great is, yeah, this is an awesome attraction, but if you leave your Disney World trip saying you didn't get to experience it, your trip was still complete. Your vacation's not ruined. Fast Pass it is, get on My Disney Experience app, try to get that Fast Pass, but if you can't get the Fast Pass, maybe next time. For kids, great attraction to visit if you have kids, but if not, maybe skip it. One and done means it's worth doing once, but after you do it once, it's, not worth repeating over and over again. And skip it is just kind of falls short. Kind of a filler attraction, if you will. Now, these votes for Awesome Planet. Get to the top here. All right. Skip it. One and done. Haven't seen it. One and done. Skip. One and done. Skip. One and done. Not a lot of love for Awesome Planet. So I do like Awesome Planet a lot. I think it's great. But I guess the category that would make the most sense besides great would probably be one and done, because it is an awesome show. But yeah, I don't see myself sitting through it over and over and over again. And just to say one more thing for the people who came in late, this is just a fun, interactive trip planning game. We're ranking things basically as if we were giving advice to somebody who has never been to Epcot before, based on the average answer in chat. All right. Awesome Planet is a show. It's a new show. Very, very new show. But the answer for Awesome Planet from chat, the consensus is Awesome Planet is a one and done. You see it once, you don't really need to see it twice. And while I love Awesome Planet, I would say chat graded that fairly. It was fair. Fair vote. All right. Next attraction. The Seas with Nemo and Friends. So chat, where do you think The Seas with Nemo and Friends falls? So I probably could have put things like the Sea Base Aquarium and stuff on this list, but for sake of, I thought it made more sense for the way this would go to just do the actual rides and shows, the actual building attractions, if you will. So, as these votes are already in my opinion shouldn't sway them really at all at this point, I think, for me, The Seas with Nemo and Friends is great if you have kids. I personally do like this attraction a lot. It's probably my favorite seashell dark ride, except for the part where you're surfing with Crush, because the motion, like you're going so slow, but the motion makes you feel like you're going fast. It kind of hurts my head a little bit. But if I was giving advice to somebody who had never been to Epcot before, and I was telling them about Nemo and Friends, I would say bring your kids on it. And if you're just two adults or whatever, maybe skip it. Or a group of adults, maybe skip it. So for kids is definitely my category for this. And as I look at chat, we have a lot of people saying fast pass it, and a lot of people also saying for kids. Some people saying must do. A few people saying great. Right now the number one answer is for kids, with the second most said answer being great. And as I catch up the chat all the way, the number one said answer, overwhelmingly as I catch up the chat, is for kids. So, Nemo is going to be our first for kids category attraction. And again, we're not going too far. We're staying in the seas, and we're going to take a look at Turtle Talk with Crush. So, chat. I think I already know the answer to this one. I think I already know the answer to Turtle Talk with Crush if Nemo falls in for kids. But maybe there'll be a surprise here. Where does Turtle Talk with Crush fall? For me, I think it's obvious. It's for kids. I mean, I feel like, you know, a group of adults really aren't just going to go do Turtle Talk with Crush with no kids. It's probably not going to happen. And it looks like it's a pretty big consensus for kids. Okay. We didn't need to spend much time on that one. But now, this next one might be a little bit more of a division. Journey into Imagination with Figment. What about that? Now, this is probably the most... Here, I'll actually type it in one more time, because I feel like there was a delay. So, Figment. Actually, I can't tell if these are still votes for Turtle Talk. I feel like, okay, so I'm going to type in, I know I already typed it in twice. I'm going to type in Figment one more time, because I just got like a huge amount of comments that all came in at once. And I can't tell if they were for Turtle Talk or Figment. So I'm going to do a Figment revote. Figment revote, if you already typed something in, type it in again. Because I just literally probably got about 100 to 200 chat messages all at once. So, let's see where chat thinks Figment falls. Figment's one of those attractions where, like, you're either on one side or the other. I feel like you either love it or you either hate it. There's not many people who are in between. One and Done, the original, was a must-do. Great as a fan of old Disney World. Yeah, a lot of people do prefer the old Figment, it seems like. Some people saying Fast Pass it. Some people saying for kids. Some people saying One and Done. Some people are saying great. The most said answer, though, is one and done. So, as I catch up with chat, it looks like the most said answer is still one and done. So, that is where Figment is going to fall. Shame. Shame. I like Figment a lot. I do. But now I think we're going to finally, maybe, have a reason to have the skip category. I don't know. I don't know. We have the Disney and Pixar Short Film Festival. This is fast passable. Some of these attractions, you can't even fast pass them. Some of these attractions, you cannot even fast pass them. You can get a fast pass for this. So this could go in the fast pass it category. I don't know why you'd want to, but it's possible. The Short Film Festival. What I would tell somebody who has never been to Epcot before is you can watch these anywhere. You can watch these shorts literally anywhere. You don't need to be in Epcot to do it. I'd say it's only good trade is the shorts are good. And if it's a hot day and it's a busy day, it still does get you out of the crowds in the sun. So I'll give it that. But that's all I'll give it. It could be anything else, and I could say the same thing about it getting you out of the crowds in the sun. It could be anything else. With the obvious consensus in chat, like 90% of the vote going to skip, and that's where it's going to go. You could argue that this could go in one and done, but you could also do the one and done on Disney Plus on your couch and see the shorts. So that is going to do it for that side of Epcot. And now we're going to look at the other side. Brandon Archer says, Corey, you're going to rank other Disney World parks attractions in the future. I love this idea. Yes. I'm just trying to think of a creative way to do it. So we're already doing a ranking of sorts on attractions with our bracket challenges on best and worst. So that we already have that going on. So I do still want to do tier lists of the attractions because that was probably the most requested thing. And that's kind of why I'm doing it this way. So we're ranking them like in a fun game kind of way. So it doesn't take the spot of the bracket. We're still going to be able to do the bracket, but we're also doing this fun tier list game with chat, kind of playing along, telling somebody how to plan a vacation. Let me just make sure I catch up to where Test Track started. Okay. Test Track. Must do. Must do. Single rider. That's a category I didn't think of. That would have been a good category. It looks like right now all the votes are pretty much for either must do or fast pass it. With some votes being great. It's a very close call between fast pass and must do. Very close. But as I catch all the way up to chat, it looks like the most said answer is fast pass it. It's too close to call. So here's what we're going to do, chat. Whenever we have something that's too close to call on these tier lists, we do an official poll. We do an official poll. So, let me get it together real quick. And I should also mention, because every time I do one of these, I do have people in the comment section that are confused later. So, if you are rewatching this on a date other than the 23rd of April, between 5 and 6 p.m., this was previously live. And it's not live anymore. And when it was live, we had a live chat that was playing a game. And that's why it might seem weird now. And we'll also add great to there, because that people were saying great too. I don't want to skew the voting by removing great. So, create that poll. And chat the poll, get ready for it. It is about to come to you. Oh, true. Between 5 and 6 p.m. East Coast Standard Time. Almost forgot for a second that there were time zones. And that not everybody, it's not the same time for everybody right now. Duh. Thanks for that catch. All right. Here comes the poll. Chat, if you could go to that link and vote. That straw poll link, I'll post it one more time, is to vote for Test Track's placement. It was just too close to call. Whoa, it's still so close. With 70 votes right now, we have 47% of the vote going to Fast Pass It, with 45% of the vote being a must-do. 76 votes, not much is changing. Ooh, wow, it's neck and neck. Only 2 votes separating Must Do and Fast Pass It. It is actually tied right now. Fast Pass and Must Do is actually officially tied. This is insanely close. I'm going to give it 20 more seconds and one more link push. I'm going to post the link one more time for anybody who hasn't got it. There it is. There's the straw poll link. Wow. It just keeps going back and forth. This is so close. All right. I'm closing it out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Refresh. And that is our final answer. With Test Track, we have Fast Pass It with 44 votes, which is 48% of the vote, and Must Do with 41 votes, 45% of the vote, making Test Track a Fast Pass It attraction. That was so close, though. That was like way closer than I even imagined. Wow. That was intense. But now, we're not going too far. Not going too far at all. Mission Space. Mission Space. Miss Magical Mana says, Fiasco, these videos are wonderful. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. And you're in on all the streams too, so I really appreciate you hanging out and participating. Really appreciate everybody. I have a lot of fun doing these, so if people like them, that's awesome because I would like to keep doing it. We can do them with ample amounts of things, rides, shows, food. All right. The results are in Mission Space. You all know how I feel about this. This ride makes me sick. If they told me it was going away tomorrow, I wouldn't shed a tear. But here's what chat says. We have some fast passes, and we have some greats. Oh, we got a Jennifer Harvey. By the way, Corey, thank you for recommending Meet the Robinsons. I love it. It's a gem. It's a gem. So, guys, if you missed any of our movie tier lists, we do have a playlist in our playlist category on this channel. You can check them out. And yeah, a lot of people hadn't seen Meet the Robinsons, but it is a gem of its time. And I think it's unfairly judged because of the movies that it came out around. It came out in kind of like a second Disney Dark Age where the movies weren't that great. But I feel like if Meet the Robinsons came out like right now with things like, Frozen and Moana and all the good movies that have come out in the past 10 years, if it was looked at with those movies, people would love Meet the Robinsons. They'd think it was the best. But Spaceship Earth. A lot of skips coming in here. Some more fast passes. Some more fast pass. It's a little tongue twister. I get stumped on tongue twisters easy too. A large mix of votes for this one. Right now, the most said answer. You know what? This is such a divide too. I'm doing another straw poll, guys. I got to do another straw poll. I'm sorry if you prefer to vote in chat, but there's just too many different votes for Spaceship Earth. Or I mean, not Spaceship Earth, but Mission Space. So we're doing another straw poll. It's the only way to give this a fair shake. So we had no must-dos. Well, we had some, but not enough. So we're going to put great, fast pass it. It's not, we had no for kids. Maybe we had one, I don't know, but it wasn't a contender. Okay. We have Mission Space, great, fast pass it, one and done, or skip. And I'm going to send this poll to you guys to vote on. There it is. I'm probably going to input the link a couple times just in case you miss it. We got the Mission Space vote. Just two divided on the answer, so we need an indefinite result. All right, with 77 votes already, we have Skip taking the lead with 25 votes. That's 32% of the vote. We have Great with 20 votes, One and Done with 18, and Fast Pass It with 14. I'm going to give it about 25 seconds. Some people saying they're unable to vote. I don't know why. I'll put the link in chat one more time. All right. I'm going to do my last refresh in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Refresh. All right. Our final answer for Mission Space. If you refresh your straw poll, you'll see what I'm seeing. It's skip. It's skip with 30% of the vote. To be exact, 30.85% of the vote. It's so divided, though. See, I would personally say skip. But with this type of division, I don't know. Because then you have 26% of the vote saying it's great, 25% of the vote saying one and done, and 17% say fast pass it. So I feel like we can't just say skip, right? I feel like that would have made sense. So I feel like it needs to go in the one and done category. It needs to go to one and done. And as I refresh it even more, one and done is now only separated with skip by 1 vote. So I feel like with 26 votes saying it's great, 29 votes saying one and done, and 31 votes saying skip, even though skip outdid one and done, I feel like they need to, in a situation like this, they need to balance each other out. So with my biased opinion saying Mission Space is one of my least favorite attractions ever, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and tell the person who's never been to Epcot before to try it once and see if it's for them. And I'm going to put it in the one and done. I think that's the fair play here. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah, you're correct. It doesn't make sense to say skip with 30%. Yeah, I can't do it in good confidence. Can't do it. But a personal favorite of mine next. Personal favorite of mine. Gran Fiesta Tour. Love this boat ride. Love this boat ride so much. Love it so much. It brings me all the feels. But chat, what does it bring you? And what are you going to tell your friends and family when they're planning their trip? Do they need to go on Gran Fiesta Tour? Now, this ride cannot fall in the Fast Pass category. Cannot do it. Because you can't Fast Pass. You can't get a Fast Pass for it. It doesn't exist. Which leaves just 5 options left. As the scores are flowing in for this ride, I am going to weigh in on my opinion. This is a must-do. Whether Gran Fiesta Tour is your favorite attraction or not, whether you love it as much as I love it or Denny loves it, it's a must-do ride. Why is that? Well, I'll tell you why. For me, it's my favorite. For me, if this ride warranted 30-minute waits every day, I'm still going to wait for it. But it doesn't. Fact of the matter is, on an average day, you're walking on this thing. I'm always so popular. Whenever I press go live, I'm always the most popular person on earth. Gotta get that phone on airplane mode. Fact of the matter is, though, this is a walk-on really any given day. You're probably going to wait 5 to 10 minutes most days. So with that being said, I would say you have to hit up this ride. It's literally a freebie. It's a freebie. You're walking through the World Showcase. The Mexico Pavilion's right there. It's a ride that you can literally walk on. And because of that, whether it's your favorite or not, I personally think it's a must-do ride. So, with that being said, let's check the votes. We have skip, must-do, great, great, must-do, great. The most said answer right now is great. By a large margin. The second most said answer is must do. But right now, there's no need for a poll because it's great obviously has the lead. But some people saying fast pass it. I don't know if it's a joke, but you can't fast pass this one. as I'm completely caught up to chat. Yep, there's our top tier comment for the moment. Must do. And I love Coco. I love Coco, but if this ride ever changed, I would be really, really sad. It's one of those things that really just like fills me with happiness. The Gran Fiesta Tour. But I've caught up to chat and it is going under great. Two of my favorites there in the great category with Living in the Land and Gran Fiesta Tour. Two of my favorites. And another one of my favorites is next. Oh, no, it's not. It's coming up, though. It's coming up. The next ride is Frozen. So, I want you guys to think about this one. We're going to be telling the person, the friend or family, we're going to be telling the friend or the family about Frozen that regularly warrants a 2-hour wait. Okay? 2-hour wait. Let's get the votes in for Frozen. Now, what I think about Frozen. I think Frozen is fantastic. I love this ride. I think it's great. But it's not something that I am ever going to wait 2 hours for. And the average wait time for this attraction is about 120 minutes. It ranges from 90 minutes to 120 minutes for an average. That isn't it. Unless you have the most diehard Frozen fan family. For me, fast pass it or bust. For me, fast pass it, and if you don't get a fast pass for it, you skip it. That's my say. That's my vote. But let me pull up to the top of chat here, where the votes started, and let's rein them in. Fast pass, must do, fast pass it for kids, fast pass. A lot of people mourning the loss of Maelstrom. We have a wide range of votes here, with the number one most said answer being fast pass it. The second most said answer being must do. But fast pass it still being so overwhelming that we do not need a poll. And that doesn't look to be changing. That doesn't look to be changing. So, as I catch up the chat, there has been a variety of answers. However, the overwhelming majority answer was fast pass it. So Frozen goes up with Test Track for fast pass it. And now we move on through the World Showcase to a show, Reflections of China. I love all these World Showcase shows. Big fan of them. My favorite is yet to come, though. Where do we think Reflections of China belongs? Henry R. says, I hate these tier videos. Well, that's okay. There's other things to watch. As the votes come in for Reflections of China. One and Done and Skip, the two most said answers right now. One and Done, the overwhelming majority still. It is an obvious one and done. As I catch up to chat. Alright, that was an easy one. Reflections of China, falling into one and done. As we move on through the World Showcase to another show. The American Adventure. Another show. So what are we going to tell our friend or family member planning their first ever Epcot day? What do they need to do about the American Adventure? What do they need to do about the American Adventure? All right. Let me scroll back up through chat. Wendy Ward says, I love these tier videos. Thanks, Fiasco. Thank you, Wendy. I really appreciate that. And surprisingly, a lot of love for this show. Not surprisingly, this is a great show. It's a great show. And it also has seating, which is big. I mean, let's be real. These Epcot shows, a huge thing is whether it has seating or not. The seats are important. But right now, the number one said answer looks like must do. Great and one and done have both been said a lot as well. Wow. Okay. There was a wide variety of votes. You know what? As I catch up, there's so many one and dones and so many must do's. Do we do another straw poll? I think we just do another straw poll. It's so divided. American Adventure. So we're going to include must do. We're going to include great. We're going to include one and done. And we're going to include skip it. In chat, I'll have the poll coming to you right now. There it is. Posted a few times just in case anyone misses it. All right, poll is out. Okay. Whoa! I just had it open and it had must do at the top. I refreshed it once. One and done took the lead. I refreshed it again. Must do took the lead. These polls have been close today. Right now I have must do and one and done both tied with 23 votes. Total of 70 votes in right now. I've noticed roughly about 80 to 90 people voting on these polls, so I'll give it to around then, till we have about those many votes before I call it. And I'll give one more link push. Post the link one more time. All right. I'm going to close it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And our winner is One and Done. With 31 votes, that's 36% of the vote. Must Do being second. With 28 votes, that's 32% of the vote. Great, with 22% of the vote, that's 19 votes. And Skip It with 8 votes at 9%. So One and Done. Now that's not to say that it isn't great. It's just that most of chat is saying, do it once, and then maybe you don't have to do it again. Which is fine. That's what the majority says. One and done. So, next up is a personal favorite of mine. This is what I thought we were getting to earlier, but we're getting to it now. Most people I've talked to more people than not that have never done this. And I only imagine that's going to be more prevalent now that it only has like one time slot. And that is Impressions de France. This is such a nice, relaxing 20-plus minute show. Can't tell you how many times I've done it, but I can tell you I've never gone on a Disney vacation in my adult life where I did not do this attraction. It's a personal favorite of Haley and mine. We love Impressions de France. But chat, what are you going to tell your friend or family member they need to do? If they need to do this or not. France, skip. Great. One and done, one and done. Skip. One and done. Right now, the most said answer is also one and done. It seems like most people think that the World Showcase shows are kind of a one and done kind of deal. Which I don't think that's terrible advice. I don't think that's bad advice for someone who's never gone before. To tell them to do the show once and then maybe be done after that. Because if you tell them to go do it once and then maybe not do it again, they can decide for themselves at that point, right? Whether or not it's worth going back to. I don't think, as much as I love Impressions de France, I think that's good advice. I do. So, with me catching up the chat now, one and done is the obvious answer for, is that all of our, we have two more Epcot shows. Okay. So one and done has been the answer for most of our shows. But we still have a few more to rank. And we're not going too far. Actually, this is the least far we've gone for any of our moves, because we're not going anywhere at all. We're actually staying in the exact same theater. We're staying in the exact same theater, and we're going to rate Beauty and the Beast sing-along. Amanda says, it can still be great even if it's one and done. Of course it can. Of course it can. One and done doesn't necessarily suggest it's not a great attraction. It just suggests it might not have the same repeatability as something like Living with the Land or Gran Fiesta Tour that you might want to go on maybe 2 or 3 times in the same vacation. It's to suggest like, hey, it's worth doing, but maybe don't worry about doing it multiple days. Maybe don't slot too much time for it. Whereas maybe for Living with the Land, maybe in a 7-day vacation you go to Epcot 2 or 3 times. Maybe for each Epcot day you slot time for Living with the Land, but maybe you only slot in one day time slot for something like the American Adventure. But if you get around to it more than once, then you do. Let's see here. Beauty and the Beast sing-along. We have Skip It, one and done. Haven't seen it. I'm sure a lot of people haven't seen this. I'm sure a lot of people haven't seen this one yet, because this is new. This is very new. Me personally, now that the votes are already in, I would say this is for kids. I think the Beauty and the Beast sing-along is for kids. Although it's cool. I mean, it shows a little bit of a spin-off of the original movie, but like the details in the little spin-off really can't be canon. I don't know. It's cute. I would argue it could also be one and done. Probably put it in the for kids section though. It looks like most people are either saying skip it or for kids. Some people also saying it's must do though. So as I'm caught up with chat, it doesn't look like we need a poll because it looks like the most said answer is for kids by a good margin. So that is where it's going to go. And we have one more World Showcase show. 2 more attractions, but one more World Showcase show. With Canada far and wide. So, where... And now this is... this is another one that I'm assuming most people haven't seen because these are all new shows. If you haven't seen Canada Far and Wide, just rank the old show. It's fine. What would you tell if a friend or family came up to you and said, hey, should I see the Canada show? The last Canada show you remember. Where would you tell them? What would you tell them? And it looks like it's not going to stray far from the rest of our Epcot World Showcase shows. Go do it once. This is the obvious consensus. Go do it once. It's worth doing once. And then from there you can tell if you want to do it again. But one and done. One and done. That is the answer. We have one more attraction that I decided to include. And I think I already know where this is going to go. I think we're going to have a very heavy one and done category. The Epcot Experience. This is the Epcot Experience that shows you what the park is planning for the future. It's a little screen show around the room. Just kind of shows you their vision for Epcot's future. I forgot how to type apparently. There we go. Epcot Experience. Where do you guys think this falls? Karen Kirby says, is this your program or something we can use? Absolutely. I actually encourage it. So on tierlist.com, this is where I make all these tier lists. I published this one. So you'll be able to find it if you do a search. You should just be able to do a search for Epcot and be able to find it. If you wanted to take this blank tier list and put the rankings as you think they belong, I totally encourage that, and then share it with us on social and show us what results you came up with. If you're unable to find it for some reason, after this video finishes processing, I'll go back and double check and make sure that I published this one, but you should be able to get it on tierlist.com just by searching for Epcot. But I'll add later tonight, there'll be a link to it in our description. Good question. But yeah, we encourage people to post their own results and share that with us. That'd be awesome. Let's see here. And also, you can make your own tier lists too. It can be a lot of fun. All right, Epcot Experience. A large voting poll of skips and one and dones. Personally, I think this is a one and done. You can just walk in whenever you want, spend 10 minutes and see it. with really no wait. And it looks like that's where chat is leaning. It's almost a skip, but one and done looks like it's going to take it. Club Cool was amazing. I really hope that we get something like it again in the new version of Epcot, because I love Club Cool. I loved it. I remember when it was an igloo. You guys remember when it was an igloo? It was a cold, refrigerated igloo. That was awesome. Epcot experience, one and done is where it goes. So, everybody, this is our Epcot Day Planning Tier List. For those of you just joining us, or maybe you joined us late, we do these tier list shows on Thursday nights, and we rank different things Disney related. Today we are ranking a Epcot day in the frame of basically telling a friend or family member who has never been to the park before what attractions are must-dos, and basically telling them all the attractions and helping them plan their very first Epcot vacation, very first Epcot day. And what we ended up telling our friend or family member was our must-do attractions. These are the attractions you need to go on or your vacation is incomplete. That is Spaceship Earth and Soarin' Around the World. Our great attractions, these are attractions that you should definitely hit up. If you miss them, well, your vacation was still probably great, but try not to miss them. That was Living with the Land and Gran Fiesta Tour. The attractions that we're telling them, you should probably grab a fast pass for this. If you don't grab a fast pass for this, then you probably are going to wait really long in line and maybe it's not worth it. That's Test Track and Frozen. The attractions that we told them, if you got kids with you, you should definitely go do them, but if you don't have kids with you, maybe pass them on by. That was the Seas with Nemo and Friends, Turtle Talk with Crush, and the Beauty and the Beast sing-along. The attractions we told them, it's a one and done. So go ahead. It's probably not going to take that long for you to try this attraction out, but maybe not budget too much time in your trip for these titles. There was a lot of them. That was Awesome Planet, Figment, Mission Space, Reflections of China, The American Adventure, Impressions de France, Canada Far and Wide, and the Epcot Experience, all one and dones. And attractions we told them, really don't waste your time on at all. It's really just not worth your time at all. There was one of them, and that was the Disney Pixar Short Film Festival, mainly because you could literally watch them on a streaming service right now, anytime you want, in the air conditioning on your couch, and not budget any time in your Epcot day for it, which I agree with. And that is our Epcot trip planning tier list. Everybody, thank you so much. You guys are thanking me for doing these, but ultimately, thank you guys, because without you, there's no me doing these, you know? Like, you're doing these just as much as me. I'm just kind of hosting it for all your voices to be heard as we make these ranking lists. And they're a lot of fun. And I hope to see you guys all in the one we do next week. I haven't decided what we're going to do next week, but there will be one next week. And I always post a little preview on Patreon a day or two before. So you'll know, if you're on Patreon, you'll know Wednesday what's coming up on Thursday. But that's going to do it for this tier list. If you're interested in our old tier list, the ones that we've done in the previous weeks, you can check out our playlist tab here on the Diz Unplugged channel. We have a playlist called Tier Lists where we've already ranked all the Walt Disney Studio animated movies in chronological order. That was the first set of tier lists we did. And now we're doing some theme park stuff. So, thank you so much, everybody, again. And hope to see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.